Good evening, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airwaves with digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. We transmit on 70 centimeters to a crossband repeater on Cougar Mountain and spit out images at 1.2 gigahertz. Find out more about our group, please Google WW7ATS. Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage on the internet. There you'll find the exact frequencies we transmit and receive on, a little bit of history on our group, and also you'll find a link to YouTube where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we simulcast our audio on WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for the nets. So with that, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before our net gets fully underway. Welcome back. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. So far, checked in by video link is Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma, Richard, K7ITX in Kent, Jim, N7QO in Covington, James, WU7N, Northeast Bellevue, and I'm Dave, KD7ZYM, and I mention Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles. Is there anybody else wishing to check into the net? Hearing none, we'll start off the net with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma. KD7QKU, thanks with that. Well, let's pick up Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay. All right. There we go. Well, good evening, you guys. Good evening, Richard. I guess James is in there, and Dave and Ron. Yeah, Lee here, N7KC in Port Angeles. I really don't have much tonight. I thought I would drop in. Um, we had a local club meeting last Wednesday night. Okay. Ron, I wasn't hearing Ron at all. Who is hearing me? Dave, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Richard, can you hear me? Richard, thumbs up. Can you hear me? Apparently not. Okay. Oh, Richard says yes. Okay. And Ron can't hear me. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, um, yeah, we had a local club meeting Wednesday night that went for a couple of hours, and so I couldn't get to the net Wednesday night. But anyway, I wanted to stop in tonight. I thought I would come in for a half hour or so and just see what's going on. Not much to report. Pretty much the same over here. Been dry. We've had 8/10, I think, of an inch of rain this month so far, and it looks like we may have a little mixed snow and rain here Monday, Tuesday, maybe something like that. But we're pretty darn close to pulling this winter off, and getting by it. But I need to think what summer's going to be like with no snowpack up in the Olympics. Anyway, I don't have much else to add. I should have brought up. I have my Raspberry Pi 5. I put it in a case, and just this evening I got a solid state hard drive for it, and the little extender thing, so I can program that with the operating system, and et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of a cute case. It's a Priorman 5 case, and it's pretty nice. Looks good anyway. And I haven't turned it on yet. I'll wait till I get the solid state drive in for the operating system, and then we'll see what happens. I've got Linux Mint now on several of my. I've got it on my Hewlett Packard Slim. I got it on my Hewlett Packard laptop. I've got it on an HP Pavilion 23 that I had around here for years. It wasn't doing anything. And if you haven't tried Linux Mint, you should give it a shot. It's really nice. About as close to Windows as you can imagine. Uh, Nothing else here, Dave. I'll send it back to you, and I'll hang around here for a half hour or so. So, uh, this is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Dave, go ahead.
N7KC, thanks with that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Unfortunately, the simulcast is not happening from digital television to go over in 2 meters this evening, somehow not shaking hands. But the audio is fine on digital TV coming across. So coming up next is Richard, K7ITX in Kent. K7ITX, thanks with that. Let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington. N7QO, thanks with that. Let's go to James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
Okay, if I send both of these, do I get an echo? I guess I don't. Okay, so because of our technical malfunction tonight, I can send both on 2 meters and on the digital side, on the streaming site, the QSL.net site. And I don't know if that's carrying over to the transmitter or not. I guess I'll get a report in a minute. Well, Ron, ceramic frying pan sounds of interest to me. I'm using a frying pan right now for most of my egg cooking that seems to very much like a Teflon pan. It's from France, but it looks like a Teflon kind of pan, and I don't know. I'm hoping it's okay to be cooking and eating out of it. If you got any comments, anybody on that, let me know. Let's see, your haircut, I thought it looks good. You're very cool-headed, I would say, right now. I, at night, wear a hat because it was cool enough in my room. My head was getting cold, so I started doing that too, wearing a knit cap at night, kind of like in the old Victorian prints. So I was doing that. Let's see. Lee, I was going to say, I can hear you on the streaming site. I could not hear you on 2 meters. I assume you're coming over on Discord. So that's apparently the connection that we're missing tonight. Let's see. Other exciting news. I had a neighbor report that about 1 o'clock today, some crazy man was banging his fist on her windows and doors, saying he was some sort of process server and was trying to serve some sort of papers using a maiden name that she hadn't used in 30 years. So that's really different. That doesn't happen every day. It's a very quiet neighborhood. So that's the buzz of the neighborhood now. I didn't even know there were still process servers in the post-COVID world. Anybody who's had experience with that, let me know. I thought these days, if someone had to be served legal documents, you used some signature service or certified mail, and if someone wants to refuse it, that's their problem. I didn't know people actually came knocking on the doors to serve papers anymore. Okay, so let's see. What else was there of interest here? Richard, glad to hear you tonight. And Lee, I'm glad you can at least hang in here with half the net for us. That's great. I think, the water situation up where you live is going to be really interesting this summer because I don't think it's snowed very much. So I hope we get a burst of snow up there in the high country so that we'll all have water. I get my water from the Cedar River, Tolt River system, and it depends on that mountain runoff too. So I'm hoping we're not headed for a drought summer. Well, anyway, let's see. 22 minutes after the hour. I guess I've said what I had to say for this round. And I'm going to turn it back to our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. That would be Dave. And my name is James, WAU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Pushing the big off button right now.
WU7N, thanks with this. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, Ron's hairdo looks pretty nice on the air tonight. It brings back memories from what my parents told me when I was about 4 years old. And this was during the Second World War. I was about 4 years old. They took me into a barber shop and I watched a man get a haircut. And then my only verbalization of that was, I want a haircut like his, but how come he has a haircut that looks like it don't it? So anyway, that was my vision of a flat top at that point. And I guess then later on when I got into grade school, I decided, that was kind of the thing that was going on with the kids getting flat tops. So I tried it, and my problem was I just had fine hair on top, and it just wouldn't stand up. No matter what I did, I could wax it, or it would just lay down. And so that was the end of my idea of being able to have a flat top. And then actually, I sort of aged out, and the hair sort of decided to fall back. So anyway, it is what it is now. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. So that's about what's happening here in Lacey. I get 39 degrees and cloudy, and yes, the weather forecast says it's going to be chilly. Maybe that four-letter word snow might come up next week. However, dayside it's going to be up around 50 degrees, so it's not going to last too long here down on the low sides. But maybe up in the mountains above 3,000 feet it might have some good snow. We need it. So that's about it. So far, everything's been looking good on the net. We got good audio coming in on digital audio. 2 meters okay if you use a 2-meter radio, but the digital audio is not shaking hands with the 2-meter radio at this point. So, for your information, so if you need to transmit on 2 meters as well as digital, it's up to you. But however you're just doing digital, it's not going to go over to 2 meters. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. So I'm going to take it back to Ron, KD7QKU. KD7QKU, thanks with that. And get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the '08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's pick up Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, we got a call sign. We have some video just shortly, I think. This is my Indian head pattern, which I've got a thing made up for here. But I'll go back to the camera on my laptop. Well, okay. I got audio from James. I got audio from Dave, and that's it. So I can't hear anything else tonight. And I understand that's there's no association. It's like there's two nets going on at the same time. One on the '08 machine, I guess, and then one on the digital side. But anyway, no matter. I'm going after this concludes. I'm going to pull out and continue with the evening here. But if I can't hear you, at least I can see some of you. Can't see. I can't say Jim over in Covington. Uh, Sorry about that. And yes, it is going to be an interesting summer here with the snowpack situation it is presently. And it doesn't, the outlook for an awful lot of snow, I think, here in the mountains is not very favorable. So we're going to have quite a summer. The worst thing I think it isn't so much that we get low on water, but the it'll be really dry, and then there's the fire situation. Pardon me. So anyway, Dave, I'll send it back to you, and then I'll just go ahead and shut down here, and we'll see you guys down the pike. Um, anyway, yeah. Okay, so Dave, take her away. N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Go ahead.
N7KC, thanks with that. And get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the '08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Let's pick up Richard, K7ITX on 2 meters. K7ITX, thanks you that. Let's pick up Jim in Covington, N7QO. What say you? N7QO, thanks with that. Let's pick up James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
Okay. Thank you very much for the signal report, Ron. I don't know why I would have lower volume. Maybe I was unconsciously not talking quite loudly enough into the microphone here. So I'll speak up a little bit and see if that helps. Jim, my goodness, Daytona 500 versus Olympics. What a choice. That's a tough one. But I'm sure keeping the family peace is probably actually more important than the big decision about which sports thing to watch. Well, let's see. The first thing that came to my mind when I heard about the process server, it was an elderly woman, him yelling apparently some name she hasn't used in 30 years. First thing that jumped into my mind is some kind of scam, some kind of variation on the various kinds of scams that you have to come up with, $1,000 of Walmart gift cards and we'll take care of this for you or something like that. He didn't say that, but I was wondering if that's where it was going. But we're on the lookout for him in this neighborhood. He's certainly not welcome here. And I can't imagine in the post-COVID world people are still delivering legal documents in that way. Well, when you said, Ron, when you said the Tucker was $300,000 or something, I thought, wow, $325,000. That's a lot. But then when you said another one went for $1.5 million, I guess that's a bargain, right? That's only a third the price, less than a third of the price, actually. So I guess it's not a bad deal after all. I recall that was kind of a really famous chapter in American automotive history because I think the complaint the other car manufacturers had about the Tuckers is that they were built too well. They would just run forever. And of course, everybody else was building cars that pretty much fell apart after 50,000 miles or 3 years, whichever came first, because they wanted you to buy a new one. So I don't know, Ron, maybe there was some comment since you've been to the museum on what the history is there. Although I see it is 8:50. So anyway, let's see. I think I've told all the hot news it is news. Thank you for the comments on Teflon. I don't know if this is really Teflon. It kind of looks like Teflon. It's a pan that's made in France, but it doesn't say Teflon anywhere on it. And I don't even know where I got this pan. I've had it literally for decades, and I think the only thing I cook in it anymore is eggs, and I never get it very hot. So the regular Teflon, I know what you mean. If you use it long enough, it just starts to come off. It just separates from typically the aluminum pan. And I think there was a lot of controversy about that when you eat that, it's supposed to not be good for your nervous system or brain or something like that. I recall somebody even had it linked to some sort of Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that. I don't remember. But anyway, I'll have to do more research because maybe a ceramic pan would be better to get that. Well, good net tonight, despite the technical problems. Thank you for everyone's participation. With 9 minutes left, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to our net control Dave over in Seattle. This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Pushing the big stop button right now.
WU7N, thanks with that. Talking about fry pans, I use a stainless steel fry pan and I use an induction burner, and it seems to work quite well for me anyway. So far, you get enough lubrication of olive oil or bacon grease in the stainless steel pan, and that seems to take care of the stickiness from the eggs. So I've been lucky with that over the years, and it causes no problem. That's good. I think the only problem could be with stainless steel, I understand what I've heard, is sometimes it may have a little bit of mixture of lead in it, so I don't know. At this point, I've been using it for years. I still haven't folded over, so anyway, health-wise, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it doesn't have a lot of lead in it, and maybe it's more stainless steel, but it certainly has worked well with me. And Ron with a flat top looks great on top of him there. Pretty soon it will be sticking straight up in the air, and you'll be proud with that. And speaking of Ron, let's go to him now. KD7QKU. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. And at this point, it's time to terminate the digital amateur television net for WWATS at 9 o'clock. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Good evening all.